We're in menopause actually longer in our life than we are in our fertile years.
As a 27-year-old, I'm thinking 35 is not that far away.
That's what's going to get me out of my chair when I'm 80. Not the fact that my heart rate was 170 on the Peloton.
We need to normalize shopping around for doctors.
Yep.
And not just like their word is Bible because they're a doctor.
I just thought it was like in the hoo-ha, in the ovaries. Yeah, that's it, right? No, girl, she's everywhere.
So you're lifting the weights. You are taking testosterone. Are you like bulky? Welcome back to the Sis Let's Heal podcast. Today's episode is one we wish more women were talking about earlier. Not when you're in it, but decades before. We're diving into menopause, and not in the way that you might expect. This isn't about waiting until symptoms hit and then scrambling for solutions. This is about the choices you're making in your 20s, 30s, and even 40s that can directly impact how your body experiences that transition later on. Today, we're joined by Marianne Krammes, a certified menopause coach and co-founder of Menopause, who knows a lot more about menopause than we do. So in this episode, we're getting all the tips on how to support our bodies before we get there. Because if you've ever felt like menopause is this far away, confusing, or even scary phase of life, this conversation is going to make it feel a lot more empowering and a lot less overwhelming. Whether you're years away or starting to notice changes already, this episode is about giving you clarity, confidence, and practical ways to support your body now. So let's get into it. So, Mare, could you start us off by giving us a little bit about your background and what led you to kind of coach women in that specific season of life of menopause?
Okay. Hi. Hello, girls. So I'm Marianne. I'm a nurse. I've been an operating room nurse for 38 years. And you would think being a nurse, I would know about menopause, but no, not at all. So it hit. I had no idea, and this is what we'll talk about. But so when I finally realized what was happening, I was like, I don't want other people, other women to go through this without realizing. And it was my younger girlfriends that my peeps, as I call them, they're all in their 30s. And they were like, you are so passionate about this. And my husband even, he was like, this is your passion. And they were like, you should do a podcast. I'm like, girls, I can't sometimes even answer on the right text link, like the thread, I'll like answer it in a wrong one. I'm like, I don't know anything about a podcast. I listen to them, but there's no way. So they were like, yep, you need to do that. And then my husband's like, you should be a coach. And I was like, I can't be a coach. I'm getting my hair done with Ellie, who I just absolutely love. And she was like, oh yeah, my sister does that. I'm like, coaching and does all that. And I'm like, where do you even... So I looked up stuff. And then I was like, okay, this is great. So then I went and did all the studies and did the coaching. And then on my podcast, I had somebody that, Instagrammed me, DM'd me. I had to ask my daughter if it was okay. Because I'm like, is this fake? Like, does this look weird? I had no idea what a DM was. And she was like, no, I think it looks legit. So I respond back. This woman comes on. We hit it off. She's on the West Coast. She had already had a website started for Menopause, and then we just rebranded into this Menopause, which is the way we look at it. Every woman needs a pal in menopause. So that's how we started that. And then she's the original founder. I'm a co-founder. Debbie McCarthy is another one with us. And yeah, that's how it all started. So it started from... Mare, you have this passion, and it is a passion for menopause, but it's also like a necessity because, we had no idea what, and there's still some people out there that still don't, or they're in denial.
It's funny how you go through something yourself, and they say you turn your pain into your purpose, and now here you are helping other women hopefully get ahead of things or at least be a friend through it to guide them. But I feel like that's kind of how I got into coaching too is, I had my own struggle. Mm-hmm. Other friends were struggling. And then they asked me for help and I was like, am I an authority here? And I was like, I really like doing this.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I love it. So what does your work look like today then? Are you still an OR nurse? Are you doing both?
I'm still doing both. which is like, it's so funny because I'm more comfortable in the OR. You know, you wear the mask, you chit chat a little, and now we are, doing podcasts, talking to, experts in the field. We got in Reno, we got the mayor of city of Reno gave us a proclamation for like the menopause awareness that we are doing. And, I'm talking to city council and I'm like, hello, what? No, can I just smile and wave and just be like, hey, thanks, but so it's like a couple of days a week I work in the hospital, and then the rest of the time is on the computer. And that's another learning thing. I'm like, I think I need a standing desk. I just cannot sit that long. Like, I'm not used to sitting that long at a job. So I'm like, maybe a standing desk is my next venture.
I was going to say, I know Kaylin kind of with her coaching, and she definitely transitioned into that standing desk situation, right? And just being able to move, and like, because you think you're like a health coach and you're doing all this amazing things, and it's like, actually, no, I'm sitting most of the day. Yeah.
You get up, I'm sure you don't get up like I do. I get up and I was like, oh my God, I'm hunched over. I was like, I feel like I can't like stand straight. I was like, what happened? And then you realize, oh my God, you've been curled over the keyboards, like banging out like on the key. I'm like, that's the next Amazon purchase.
I think that's a lot of like people these days too. Like we have office jobs or desk jobs, and we're just constantly like a little hermit.
Yeah. It's crazy.
My walking pad and standing desk has been my best investment so far.
Yeah. I definitely see that coming my way.
Yeah. Awesome. So you still do the OR work, and you're also coaching anytime you're outside of, or coaching and podcasting, which I think are both very time consuming things. Rewarding, but time consuming. But I think a lot of women, I mean, I don't know if I would consider myself like fearful of menopause. I think it's more of like fearful of the unknown of what to expect when that time comes. Or maybe they just don't think about it at all. But what do you wish like women in their 20s, their 30s, like younger women understood about menopause, or like were doing to prepare for it?
So a friend of mine, and we talked about it, we called ourselves the menopause fairy godmothers. And we were answering questions for like our other girlfriend who was, in her early 40s. And then when you had mentioned this topic, I'm like, yeah, it doesn't, we're all women. Like, I try to prepare my daughter and daughter-in-law because they're also, they just now turned into their 30s, which I can't believe that my baby is in her 30s. But yeah, the 20s, I think it's, just to always believe in your gut feeling, right? Don't read something and think that it's only that, because that's what we were told. Basically, for menopause, it was just hot flashes. Oh, okay. Well, I wasn't getting hot flashes. So I'm like, obviously this can't be, but I knew something was happening. And I think like in your 20s, like your cycles can be erratic. They can be, you can have them, you can miss them. Like, just be in tune with your own body to know like what is a normal cycle for you. What does it look like? Like, is it every 28 days? Is it every 40 days? Are you skipping? Is it, do you have like PCOS? Is it any of that? Like, just know your body really well, because in the 20s, your bodies, they're pretty forgiving. I mean, damn, I know what I did in my 20s. I mean, you just drank Tab, smoked menthol Capri, starved yourself, and you still got into that cute little mini skirt. I could, and go clubbing, with Aquanet, everything, right? If I did that same thing in my 50s, I would probably gain 10 pounds by the end of the week, just because of how your system and body shift. So you don't, and I was never really in tune with myself now as I am, back in the 20s. So I would say if you start and you become really, and I listen to your girls' podcast, and you are helping women out there. Hopefully they listen to your advice and everything. And it's like just the negative talk, the negative self-talk and stuff like, become in tune with who you are in your 20s. So that way, by the time you get into perimenopause, you just have to make like little tiny changes, as opposed to getting thrown into it and then having to drastically change your lifestyle. Because I think those are the women that still suffer today with it, because they're not making the changes. You have to make the changes. If you don't, you're gonna not be the best that you can be. And we're in menopause actually longer in our life than we are in our fertile years. So there's that. When I heard that and read that, I was like, I gotta read that again.
And Ellie and I are both sitting here, we're like, oh.
We both went, oh.
This should come with a disclaimer. Kaylin, put a disclaimer on this. You may be petrified and terrified by this conversation,
Woo!
but it's
You may
all
be shocked.
okay. It's all going to be okay.
Well, I think as a woman too, we're always scared of that next stage until that next stage happens. Because I know, like, when I was younger, I was scared to get my period. And now I'm terrified to, like, have a baby.
Yeah.
But, like, you guys have both had
Yeah.
babies and you've lived to tell the tale. But I'm so
Right.
scared. So I think then we're just so scared of what's to come. But talking to mothers, and it makes me less scared. So I think just having this conversation will be good. You mentioned perimenopause and menopause. Can you explain like the difference with them and what those are? Because I didn't know it until I've heard you talk about it. So
we have great conversations in your chair.
We
Yeah.
do.
I always would love to put a camera on the other people to see, like, are they listening? Like, what we go from.
Just mic them up.
I know.
we're cackling.
Yeah,
we're loud.
We are. We are. So perimenopause is anywhere from 7 to 10 years before actual onset of menopause. Because, I didn't know this, and I'll tell you how I want the words to shift. So perimenopause can start as early as like 35. But you don't, with subtle changes that you may not even realize. Your period's getting a little irregular. Your sleep pattern is getting, and it's right in the middle of when you're raising kids, if you have raising family, so you don't even notice it, right? So those are like the real silent years, so that takes you up to menopause. Menopause is just essentially one day, which is infuriating to me, but it's the 1 year anniversary of you not having a cycle. That's actual menopause. And then you are flipped into postmenopause, which to me makes no sense, because we've been both, right? Kaylin, you and I have been postpartum, right? Mm-hmm. It's something that lasts, and then you're done with it, right? Post, it's after. So it lasts a little bit, you have the baby, you're in postpartum, and then it ends. Menopause doesn't end. So to say that we're in postmenopause, it's like, well, is it ending? No, it's not. So I just always say I'm in menopause. I don't even use the word post, because I'm like, it's like a word that it's not needed, in my opinion. But that's the whole scan and span of things. So from 35-ish until, menopause, average age, some women, it's like 50, 51. And then it's until the very bitter end.
Sitting here as a 27-year-old,
Yep.
I'm thinking 35 is not that far away. Is there anything that we can do to prolong that from happening? Like ways that we can support our body, whether it's exercise or nutrition or just supplementation or anything? Or is it just something that's bound to happen around like age 35?
No, it's like based on, your lifestyle and everything also, so it's like your estrogen is going to decline, right? Naturally. But if you have a whole bunch of, you're like smoking, you're drinking, you are not exercising, you're eating, the inflammation process, you're always inflamed. Like that process is always there. What triggers it to get even worse is the decline of estrogen, because you have estrogen receptors in every body system Like, I had no idea. I just thought it was like in the hoo-ha, in the ovaries. Yeah, that's it, right? No, girl, she's everywhere. She is everywhere. And when she starts going, you'll see the signs. So for me, in my 40s, I started having GI upset. So I thought, like, couldn't digest. And they were like, oh, try a gluten-free diet. I was like, I'm now celiac? I eat bread with bread. Like, they were like, no, you can't. You can't. I was like, I can't eat? I can't. Okay. So that 10-year period when I was in perimenopause that I didn't know, I'm doing, a gluten-free diet because the gut health is, to me, what a lot of people will start to notice first. Because that's where you'll eat the same stuff that you have all your life. And then you'll eat it then and you're like, ooh, God, I just feel bloated. I feel like full. I can't digest. Like, it's just weirdness like that. So for me, I would say just live a lifestyle that is like you focus on fuel for nutrition and not dieting. You know what I mean? You make the right choices. If you eat really healthy in your 20s, and you can have cheat days. Like, those are what my Oreos are for. Like Ellie and I have talked about before, but you can have cheat days. But if you just are consistent with just having and focus on eating the right stuff, that hurdle will be less for you. You know what I mean? Because when the inflammation comes, it's not really going to be an issue because you already have a healthy gut. You already eat like the, fermented foods or anything like that. So maybe in your 30s or early 40s when you're noticing like, oh, I'm having it, maybe just add like, a more of kimchi or sauerkraut or more yogurt or something. As opposed to me, I had to like reinvent the wheel, it felt like, because I'm like, what is happening, and just stuff like that. So for me in the 20s, I would say, know your cycle, know what's normal for you. So that way when something is hinky, you'll pick up on it, have a good sense of nutrition. Like, for me, growing up in like the 80s and it was all like diet. And I've heard you guys say it, so diet is so restrictive. You say the word, there's dye in there. You're like, I'm dying on a diet, but it's like, if you just do a lifestyle. So when you eat something off of what you normally do, you really don't feel good and realize, oh my God, that's why, so it's that type of thing. I would definitely have paid more attention to that, and decrease, excessive drinking, because alcohol, that, with sleep, that also starts like in your 30s. You don't realize it, but you'll hear people like in the 30s be like, oh yeah, in my 20s I could go out and drink and I was fine the next day. Now you'll hear women say like in their 30s, oh my God, it took me like 3 days. So in the 40s, it takes you longer. In your 50s, it's like a whole damn week. I was like, damn, what happened? Like, I lost a whole week. Like, what's going on? But so that would be my advice for the 20-years. And also try to find a provider now that you can talk with, that you only see them once a year. But if you feel like you have a relationship or a rapport, that like you could grow with them, even if it's, a younger one, older, whatever. Just find that provider and ask the questions that you want answered, and don't leave until you get them. That's what I would, because a lot of times you have 15 minutes, you quickly ask the questions, you leave, even us like in medical, and we're like, damn, I forgot to ask that question. And now you have to wait a whole other year until you go get your yearly checkup. So if you know your cycle well, if you know your body well, you can get down to like 5 questions that you want to ask starting in your 20s, and then you get that rapport with the provider.
Yeah.
What was your experience with finding a provider that was helpful and actually like listened to you with the symptoms and side effects that you were having?
Difficult, very difficult, because I didn't know in my both of our kids are going to college, so they're like, oh, it's empty nest syndrome. No. I could digest when they were here in the house. I don't know why I can't now all of a sudden when they left. I don't know what's happening. And it was...
I have more freedom.
Exactly. And I was like, I don't have to share my Oreos anymore. Like, okay. So, for me, it was just like, you know, you didn't know. So I would go in and I wouldn't know the questions to articulate to the provider, right? So I was seeing this one and you feel off. How do you explain that, right? Like, I had no idea. Like, so I'm like, I feel off. I'm like, the skin on the top of my legs hurts. What are they going to do? You know, so he said, obviously, it was my diet. And he told me to do a macrobiotic diet. And I was like, okay, what is that? Can you I had to look it up. And, you know, then it wasn't like as easy to... So I'm looking it up and I'm printing it, you know, and it's like It's a lot of cabbage, which I do not recommend. It is not a sexy diet. It's like you are just walk around and you feel full and bloated at all times. But I was like, well, I feel horrible still on that. So then I found another provider. And then I, you know, by that time there was like something more off. Like I was like, you know, I'm getting palpitations and everything like that. And they were like, oh, let's go for a Holter monitor. Let's go for an EKG, echocardiogram. Well, everything was normal, thank God. Then they're like, must be your thyroid. Take the thyroid. Nope, it's fine. You know what? It's just stress. You know, you just start, you know, stress and anxiety. And I was like, I'm an anxious person now. Okay. Then you keep going on. Then I found like another one that they were like, oh, you know, they said it was the heart palpitations I had back again. They said then again that it might just be that I was stressed. Did I want to, you know, get an antidepressant or anything like that? I'm like, no. I feel fine. I'm just trying to... Do you want some pills for like metformin, which is like for diabetes, sugar, and I don't have high sugars, but all of a sudden now my A1C is going up, and I was like, I don't eat sugar. Like, I don't eat it. Why is that? And my blood work is wonky. It's out that, you know, and they're like, well, you're pre-diabetic. And I'm like, why am I pre-diabetic? Like, well, I can't lose weight. Like, I'm gaining weight. They were like, yeah, you're just not working hard enough. You need to really work on exercise, cut calories. And I'm like, I'm down to a salad. Like, I am down to a salad and water, and I'm gaining weight. And they're like, yeah, you're just not trying hard enough. And I was like, you know, I literally would leave wanting to throat punch at least 4 out of the 5 of them. Literally, because it was my fault. So, and that's what happened. I wasn't the only one, but I don't say anything because it's not menopause. I'm waiting for that hot flash. I was like, okay. So finally I have my provider now. He is amazing. We curse in there. We laugh. Like, I've recommended him to my other friends, and we're having a conversation. And I'm like, something's not right. And he was like, yeah, well, you know, it could be menopause. And I was like, what is menopause? He was like, look, here's Dr. Mary Claire Haver. Read her book, get on her Instagram. And I'm like, okay, because the last time somebody like wrote in a summary that I was postmenopausal, and I was like, who is that? That was, you know, how when you leave the doctor's office, like you get like, and I was like, well, that's not me. They must have made a mistake. Like, right. So he says menopause, and I'm like, okay. I read her book cover to cover, and I was like, oh my God, I have everything. I had this sleep disorder. I had the anxiety that comes out of nowhere. Like, I was anxious going to work, doing a job that I've been doing for over, 35 years. I'm like, I don't know if I can do it. Do I know how to do it? And it's all in your head. You keep it in there because nobody's talking about it. So when I read that book, I was like, oh, it was like the freeing of everything. And then I started to have just all these conversations and like, okay. And you ask another woman and they're like, yeah, I have that too. And I'm like, girl, why didn't you tell me? And they were like, well, why didn't you tell me? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know why we didn't tell each other. But that's happened. So no, I did not have an easy path. Getting back to your question, I actually had one GYN. She was a menopause specialist. So after I read the book, I find her, because in the book it says if you can look up the Menopause Society, there's some providers near you. I'm like, okay, where we live, is there going to be anybody? Well, there was. They were in Scranton. I was like, perfect, not far. She comes in dressed really nice. The gown that I got was the smallest hospital gown I had ever gotten in a GYN appointment, right? So I am like coming out of it like a biscuit, like when you crack that thing, I'm like trying to cover myself. There's things popping out all over. I feel very uncomfortable. And in my lap is my book, my Mary Claire Haver Bible. It has I have tags sticking out of what I want to ask her. She comes in, she was like, so, are you here about the weight gain? No. No. Hi. Thank you. Hi. I'm Marianne. No, I'm here because I'm getting palpitations again. Like I've had 2 Holter monitors previous to this, and I'm getting them again. They're at night. Like I feel like I'm going to die every night. And then I wake up and I'm like, oh, thank God I didn't die. And then it happens again. And she was like, oh, you need to do the, intermittent fasting diet. She hands me a flyer. Okay. I swear to God, I can't even make this stuff up. She hands me a flyer that if I used that flyer with that code, I would have gotten a discount on the book. And she's like, look at me. I do it. And I was like, oh my God. And she looked very nice. Don't get me wrong. And I'm like, look at you. I was like, look at you. I was like, I'm out of here. And she was, matter of fact, well, I'm not going to do any hormone levels. I'm like, but this book says I need to know what my levels. And she was like, obviously you're in menopause, so they're going to be low. And I was like, oh, I envisioned throat punching her. I got dressed as quick as anything. When I go back out, they were like, do you want to make another appointment? I was like, I will never be back here again. Like I left there, and then in the car, I was like in shock. I called my daughter and I was like that angry cry, because when you're so angry, and she was like, Mom, are you okay? And I'm like, listen to what she said. And she was like, oh yeah. So that was my experience. So my one guy that I have that is my provider, he has put me on hormone patches before anybody else would, because they were like, yeah, we don't really think you need. He was like, Mare, I'm going to order it for you. And I always tell him, I will tell all of my girlfriends. And he was like, I was like, you will be the menopause guru. You're going to be the male Mary Claire Haver. And he just laughs. Nervously, I think. But he still laughs.
Now, is he like a PCP, or is he someone that's like an OBGYN?
No, he's just a regular, family medicine. Mm-hmm.
And is he in like big name brand healthcare, or is he like private practice?
No, he's in, he's in Lewisburg. So he's with what is that now? No, actually, he's in Danville. But his office is in Lewisburg, but he's with Geisinger.
For me, like that's something. So I don't know how much Ellie and you probably haven't talked about this, but I moved away to Maryland. Mm-hmm. So when I came back home, I was like, I should probably establish a PCP now that I'm like a real adult. Yeah. And I swear to you, I went once. Mm-hmm. This was October of probably 2023. Mm-hmm. I had asked her, because I was getting to the stage, I was married, like, if we have a kid at some, like we plan to have kids, like what is my next step? How can I prepare for that? Who should I be seeing? Like, can you help me pretty much have a better idea of what I need to do? And her response was, we'll talk about it when you get there. Oh. And I found out I was pregnant that following March. And I said, I guess I will not be back to you because you were not helpful at all. I wanted to prepare myself, and and mind you, I asked her to check like hormone levels because I had kind of inklings that like there was something off. I had taken a Dutch test. I'm not sure if you heard of that or taken that before.
You're doing everything, Kaylin, in the 20s, what you're supposed to do. Yeah.
Yes, and it had showed that my testosterone was low. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I would like to confirm that with some blood work. she did not tell me, maybe she did not know that it would cost me $900 to do this. But she was like, yeah, sure, we could test it. Like, click, click, click. And that was it.
Oh my
She
God.
never followed up on
Nope.
anything. She never nothing.
No.
And I was like, all right, I guess I'm on my own here. It was crazy. Like, I was just looking for that professional help that, like, trying to be proactive here. Can you help me out?
Right.
Yeah.
That's so true. And like they keep falling behind the excuse, well, we're not taught that in medical school. You know what? You could use that excuse if you want it back in the 90s and the 2000s. And even now, they don't have a lot of course studies on menopause. Evidently, I guess they also don't study just women in general, even though we are half the population. We birth
Crazy.
the rest of the population,
I'd say
right?
very important part of the
We're not going to study them. We're not going to study women. You just sort of, just like pat you on the head. You're good to
Too
go.
complicated.
Too complicated. We'll let you know when you get pregnant. Well, what about all like the women that are having those same conversations that, infertility is such a big, they don't talk about that either. And I know people that are going through different infertility, and what they tell them is for one woman to another woman to tell people this is, to me, it's criminal, honestly. It's like not even and it's like a hypocrisy type of thing. Like they take this oath that they will do good and you're telling people like horrible things in the office, and then not caring for them. For me, that's not caring for you as a doctor. Mm-hmm. For you to go up and ask and they say, we'll get there when, okay, well, do you do that if you had diabetes? Like if
right.
Well, we'll have that. Well, your sugars are getting high, but I'm not going to tell you what to do
it's for sure.
Until you're going to need insulin every day. Then I'll explain it to you. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't do that, right? They're having these. So why, as a woman, I ask you, what should I do to prepare my body? What can I do better? My testosterone maybe up? No. She automatically thought that you just knew too much, and she wasn't. She was like, no, I don't. What is a Dutch test? I don't even know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because some people don't know what that is. I do because I was fascinated by it. Went down that rabbit hole.
Yeah. And like,
yes,
they're very helpful when you know how to interpret them.
Yep.
And know how to take action after you've interpreted them.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Sometimes I think that nowadays doctors are kind of scared because there's more that they don't know and they don't want to admit that they don't know that.
Right.
Yes. I think it's okay. We need to normalize shopping around for doctors.
Yep.
And not just like their word is Bible because they're a doctor. We can like go in between. Because me personally, I trust a more holistic doctor than like a medical medicine doctor most of the time. So, but they seem to just like get my vibe. And you have to find someone that gets your vibe. I don't know.
Exactly.
Like,
because there's holistic, but there's like functional med docs that, they look at the whole body. So for women, whether you're in menopause, post, even though I don't like saying that, but even just in your reproductive years, hormones, oh my God, they wreak havoc, right? Like you all have like, bad PMS, and you're like, oh my God. And then you have that one glorious week in your, like, from the time that you start your cycle that you're like, I'm not bloated, I'm not post where I'm still bloated and I'm cranky, I'm not bitch. Okay, so 1 week, but the functional med docs look at the whole thing because your hormones affect your whole entire body, every system. And so for me, I didn't even know that they existed, back then. You're like, what? You just went to, like, growing up when I was in 20s, it was your regular family doctor, your OBGYN, and if you needed another specialty. But there wasn't anything like that went off. And yeah, I find myself going more towards them because, I get acupuncture, like, and other people, you can't get acupuncture. Oh, yeah, you can. Okay, it's really good.
Yeah. going back to how you were saying that women in their 20s and 30s should be learning their own body, learning their own normal, I'm kind of curious about your opinion when it comes to women that are in their 20s, are in their 30s, that were kind of like Band-Aid prescribed oral contraceptives, and maybe how that has skewed what their normal should be, you know, without the influence of those hormonal birth controls. So what would you say, like what advice would you give to a woman who maybe is on a hormonal birth control or has come off of a hormonal birth control, and just kind of tips to help her figure out what her normal is?
Give yourself time, you know, because everybody's different. I know when I was taking birth control, like I had to get on different doses. I mean, it just, you know, either it's too high, it's too low, or you still have like, you know, your cycle is still breaking through. Like your body is like trying to figure it out. So if you get off of it for whatever reason, you just you want to get off to see how your body is, or you're trying to have a baby, give yourself time to adjust, because it takes a while. Like it doesn't just take, I think, you know, they would tell me and like in the 90s, like, oh, wait a month to get, no, it takes more than just a month for you to get that regular pattern back again. Because, you know, with the pill, like it's higher, some of them are like estrogen or more progesterone, like, so your levels are all skewed anyway. You know what I mean? So it takes you a while just to get back to that normal, where you would be a normal per se, to realize, okay, this is what I feel like. This is how I know. And I mean, it's, you know, basically the pill is HRT for the 20 and 30s and 40-year-olds, right? Because I'm trying to get, like, it sustains you to not get pregnant. It keep, you know, for HRT, it's basically keeping you normal because you have nothing. You know what I mean? So it's but people don't look at contraceptive, like birth control, like they do HRT. They'll say, oh, you can't get on HRT. Or were you on the pill in your 20s? Same thing. You're still trying to control your hormones and trying to get it back. So I don't understand, like, people are still have that negative vibe of like HRT when you know that they were on the pill. I'm like, well, that messed. I think the pill wreaked more havoc with my hormones than the HRT did. But
can you explain what HRT is?
Yeah. So HRT is hormone replacement therapy. So it is just getting all three of your hormones, which I love, Kaylin, that you have the testosterone and knew about that, right? So it's your testosterone, progesterone, and estrogen. So the estrogen, you can take estradiol, estrogen, they come in a patch. You can get pellets. You can get a cream. Any type of thing that works for you, you can get that for a replacement for your estrogen. And that helps with all of the systems that have been running amok without it. The progesterone is your calming. That's like it's just, you take it at night. It helps with your sleep. It helps with your anxiety. It helps with your just like exhaustion a little bit, because you're getting better sleep, right? And then it helps with like a little bit of the brain fog. But the testosterone, this is the one. This is the one that everybody needs that nobody gets. Like she's, you know, everybody thinks it's estrogen. It's the T. I mean, she is the one that makes everything work so much better. She also helps with the brain fog. And it's not just, people look at it like, oh, libido. No, yes, I mean, that is one component to it, but it's like the extreme exhaustion and fatigue that you feel, that you're sleeping. You take the progesterone, you're like, okay, I'm sleeping better, and you still wake up and you feel like a train rolled over you. It's like the recovery time for working out. Like I would work out and would continue to injure myself. And I'm like, I've been working out on and off since like in my 20s, you know, like I did the aerobics and with the weird little spandex. Glad there wasn't pictures back then. But But so I've always, and, you go and lift weights and I'm like, now my shoulder. Ellie would hear it. I was like, oh, my shoulder. I don't know why is my shoulder hurting? So that recovery, you need and the brain fog gets so much better with the testosterone. So HRT is the components of getting hormone replacement, whether you choose to do 1, 2, or 3. I finally am able to have all 3. It took me over 7 months to find somebody to write me testosterone because, based in the 80s when all these like meatheads were doing it and juicing and everything, no, they don't give it. I was like, I wasn't one of those bodybuilders in the 80s that was doing it in a like singlet. I'm now 58 and I just want it. No, they don't prescribe it here. So it's like such a bad, it's another black label in my opinion. One label came off, the other one went on with testosterone because that's what you do need for the HRT. So that is what HRT is. So it's a replacement. And if you get it the earlier you can, you're never in that depletion mode. Like by the time I got it, mine were all zero. I did finally find, my doc finally did, and I was like, well, and he goes, I told you they'd be low. And I was like, but this is non-existent. There's not even a line. There's not even a color. Like, when they tell you normal, I was like, well, that's 0, so had you like started, and now they're trying to, because of the black label coming off that we're saying that, so they're starting to give it to women in the 40s, so they don't need as much. So you're just replacing what you're losing, you just replace it as you go. So that way, by the time, you need the full dose per se, you didn't really notice any real bad side effects. By the time you get to 0, now it's like trying to fill a pool, with a leaky hose. You're like, well, this will take a while.
Now, obviously, like, I feel like a 20 or 30-year-old going into a provider's office and asking them, like, okay, so how would you help support me in perimenopause and menopause? They're probably going to laugh at you. Mm-hmm. So, like, what questions should we be asking a provider as we're kind of shopping around to make sure that we're choosing the right one?
I would ask what their beliefs are on HRT. All of it. What their beliefs are for testosterone, progesterone, like what, hey, hypothetically, if I go and I would like some, if I see that I'm experiencing some, signs and it's like my late 30s, are you open to doing hormone therapy? Because there's some of them will downright say no. My friends that tell me, I'm still shocked. I'm like, they told me no. For the testosterone, they were like, no. I'm like, what? Wait, what? Yeah. And again, I use the insulin, little brain fog. I'm trying to think of the word. Comparison. Thank you. Brain fog. Comparison, like, would you tell me that you're not going to give me insulin if my sugars were 500? No, you would give me insulin. So I'm telling you that my testosterone is 0. 0. And you're not, so I would check with them on that. And I would just see how and you'll get the vibe too. If they're heavy prescribers, like if you come in and say that you're anxious and that you're not sleeping, are they going to first say, let's give you an antidepressant? Or are they going to say, let's check your hormones? So that's things that you'll find by just going in there yearly and just seeing what their prescription thing is. Like if they're like, oh yeah, we can give you this. Well, no, I didn't come in it's not an easy fix. I would just, if you tell me like, hey, you're gaining weight, Mare, lifestyle, right? Oh, you know what? I would rather have you tell me that than be like, well, I can give you, a GLP-1 or something. Like, it's like, wait a minute. I'm here just asking you, what is your way of helping me? So you would be able to get a sense at that. And if they are like, oh yeah, we have no problem with hormones, then be like, okay, I'm going to stay with you. And then you can grow with that provider. That would be, because in the 30s, you know, so like we said in the 20s, you know, your body, you're still like, I mean, she's young. Oh, you guys are babies. You're like, oh, and this is like a brand new car. All the wheels are still good. You're good. 30s, you're going to need that tune up. You know, you're going to be like, okay, like my sleep, it's like, but it's going to be like, you know, your daughter is going to be like running you ragged, maybe going to soccer games and everything like this. So you're going to be like, oh my God, it's just that. I did a podcast and now I'm doing it. So you, in your head, you make excuses for everything. But the wheels they're getting a little sticky, you know. But if you continue with doing the nutrition and continue with lifestyle balance, you know, like, you know, yeah, go out, you can have fun, you can drink, but I wouldn't recommend doing it 5 times a week, you know, but, and like learn different like mindfulness techniques at this time, stress management, you know, whatever works, because it's busy. It is, I mean, busy like nobody's gonna, you know, you'll be in activities at school and having to go here. And so if you can always find time for yourself and always learn, I would say this too, for your 20s and 30s, learn to be able to put yourself first. It's going to feel uncomfortable as hell. And you're going to be like, well, no, I'm a mom now, right? Can't, like, I'm a mom now. Like, my responsibility is to her, not to, well, yes, it is, but your main responsibility is also to yourself, and to make sure that you continue to put yourself first, because, and that could be just giving yourself like your own time to go walk around Target with like a lovely cup of coffee, right? It doesn't have to be these big things. It could just be like, I chose myself today because I was kind and gave myself grace, and I went and got a pedicure or whatever. So that way then in the 30s, when the car's getting a little like, need a tune up, you can be like, you know what? I just need to go take a walk. I'm going to grab a cup of coffee and be by myself. My family they can take care of themselves. I've made them self-sufficient, right? So that way it helps with everything there and you understand your hormones. So things are like, okay, because then when the 40s, now you're getting a flat tire. Now the tires are like, they're getting worn. You know, they put that quarter or penny in there to let you know how much tread you have. There's no tread left on the tires anymore in the 40s at all. But you keep working on it, and then you keep building. So now the choosing yourself, now you're like, you know what? I had a really busy week. I'm going to take the whole day, maybe the whole part of the next day. But I've trained my family to be self-sufficient. I've trained them that I choose me first, that I'm my responsibility along the way. So they understand, oh, it's more than just going to Target for a half a day with a cup of coffee. Now you're up to like, you know what? I'm going to go take a walk. I'm going to go do mindfulness, whatever you find. So that way, when you keep going, it's not, and then nobody will question you, because that's what happens a lot of times. A woman will just put herself last. And then when you start sticking up for yourself, you're really going to irritate the people that you never spoke up to before, right? You're going to be like, well, where'd this come from? Well, you know, because you're at this point. But if you do it along the way, it's not going to be a surprise. So that's what, you know, and you're doing everything else along the way too. You're eating the right way, because I had to relearn how much protein. Dear God, my God. It's unbelievable to me that I have to eat that much protein but I do. I mean, I now like keep a little food diary thing on an app to make sure that I get all of because Ellie would tell me macros and whatever, and I would listen to your podcast. I'm like, what the hell's a macro? And I was like, oh, that's a macro. Like, and I was like, well, I was like, never in the pie chart, I never had enough. But I'm like, oh, now you get the fiber, so to relearn that was a process and just an understanding. You guys get it, you understand it now. You're in your 20s. Your car is going to be great in the 50s. You're going to still like keep going. You're like, I didn't even notice any tread. There's no difference. That's the difference of just maintaining. You get good oil in your car, right? Because you don't want it to run horrible. And you treat your car, you get it washed, you go in for the checkups. Treat your body better than your car, but with that same concept.
Honestly, our dad would love that you just said that. Because, wow, he has instilled in us from a young age of, like, cars are like luxury, and you honestly don't touch anything in the car ever. It's like, keep your hands to yourself. Your car should always be clean and oil and check the tire. Like, he would love that you said that.
But it's the same concept, right? So we do that for, like, a car, but for us, we're just gonna, like, maybe just grab a protein bar in the midst of, you know, running around and doing 30 different things. Well, I didn't have time to eat today. I'll get it tomorrow. No, because you're going to wake up at 3 a.m. when your cortisol's by, and you're like, I'm starving. Why am I hungry at 3? Like, well, oh, I had a protein bar. And then you, like, rethink what you had or didn't have all day. A protein bar. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
So
I think the hardest thing now that we're very focused on having clean ingredient things is, like, I'm not reaching for a protein bar anymore. Like, I need fruit, I need yogurt, I need things that are harder to take on the go, but I know what I need to do, and I need to be ahead of it when I know I've got a big day. And I think it's all in the planning and preparing that really sets you up for success.
Oh yeah, meal prep is everything. You know, I used to always just take like a little bag in the car with water and a protein bar to maybe a couple of nuts, you know. Now it's like nuts. If we have like chicken, I was like, can we put the chicken in the bag? Just a little bag. I can nibble on it. It's like, you know, and I would always like, our son always is like protein, like he goes to the gym every day, and he's like, and I was like, oh my God, you're going to turn into a chicken, right? And now my husband and I laugh. We're like, what can we do more with chicken? Because I feel like I need to get a couple more grams of protein in today, you know? And he's like, oh, I don't know, maybe we could do like, well, let's do, you know, we go in, it's so funny. Like, yeah. So now there is chicken in a bag going in the bag for the car ride, as opposed to a very sticky, gooey protein bar.
Yep.
Yes.
Ellie and her husband, they had started doing, I don't know if they do it anymore, they would have their chicken popsicles in the car, just chicken on a fork. Cold chicken.
That was a point in time. I do still think it's a great road trip snack. Like,
yeah.
And perfect. You have a mode of transportation and it's kind of fun. So I love it.
It's true though.
That was back in the early days.
Yeah.
And a big bowl of fruit. I swear, on my way to my bachelorette trip, me and Kaylin ate 12 peaches because I cut up so many peaches. I swear, because we're not getting like candy or anything like that. And a big road trip snack when we were growing up was Twizzlers.
Oh, yeah.
But we just put this giant bowl of peaches in between us as we were driving, and it was gone. Next thing I knew, I said, oh my God, we ate 12 of them.
And there were 4 of us in the car, and we were the only 2 eating the peaches.
Only 2. I said, Kaylin.
Hey, it is, I mean, you got to prepare. I mean, it's better for you. I mean, it's, you know.
Yes.
Because, the snacks that we used to take, like when our kids, like, it was the goldfish, the little fishes, goldfish things. They were, God, and they never molded. I mean, you would find them in your car, like it'd be under the seat, like years later. No mold. It's like a McDonald's French fry, right? Never any mold. You're like, what is in here that I just consumed that whole little carton? I'm like, well, that ain't good. Yeah. So peaches, definitely. Maybe not 12. I'm not going to lie. But
yeah.
We should have had some protein with that.
It was delicious.
Okay. So I wanted to go back to, you had mentioned exercise being an important part of the lifestyle earlier on, as early as you can. Is there a certain type of exercise that you prefer or suggest over others?
Oh, yeah. Well, I always thought like, oh my gosh, you know, growing up like with, Jane Fonda and aerobics, obviously it's just cardio. Obviously. No. Wrong there. Wrong. It's weight strength, like weight bearing, it's doing bands. It's like body strength, because that's what builds muscle. So you're eating better, you're eating the protein, you're building the muscle. All of that works together with helping you maintain your weight, as opposed to going like a beast on a Peloton bike, which I do have a Peloton. I do love it. And yeah, you do, you get on, you're like, okay, well, no. I mean, yeah, you just got your heart rate. I took a picture the one time, it was like 172, and I sent it to my husband. I'm like, this is good, right? Like, this is good. It's like, right? No. So I've trained that into like doing cardio maybe one time, maybe twice. And like, I'll switch it. I'll do the bike, and then I'll get on the treadmill and I'll walk with it in an upcline, an uphill. So that way it's still not, it's more walking, and it's nice on the muscles and bones and all that. But then it's weight training. I mean, it's like the heavier the weight, it's not as many reps, it's like less reps, but just a heavier weight. So now I'm onto kettlebells, and touch wood, my shoulders are all good. They love my T. That's what I call her. I was like, come on girls, we got the T. And yeah, so I'm back to like doing the kettlebells and core, and that to me is the most important, because that's what's going to get me out of my chair when I'm 80, not the fact that my heart rate was 170 on the Peloton. A little scary.
Yeah.
So you're lifting the weights, you are taking testosterone. Are you like bulky?
Yes, I am as big as those guys in the 80s. Yeah. No, not at all. And another fun myth, I have not grown extra hair. Ellie can tell you, my hair has not gotten any thicker. It has not gone to my chin.
We're getting there.
It has not gone. I do not have feral chin hairs, or I'm not bulking up, but it is a leaner muscle. Like, I feel stronger. Like that I can do a plank for now like over 2 minutes. Like, I mean, I'm cursing, don't get me wrong, but it's a lot better than what I was, because I would always, like, my shoulder would hurt, so I would feel it, so I couldn't do it. So now, with just being on the testosterone for the last like 4 months, I'm up to like a 2-minute plank. So it's core, it's everything. Yeah, not Jane Fonda-ish, but it's good.
I think we should start dressing up like her to strength train.
Oh my God. Yes. Oh my God, I did. I had like the nylon tights, and then like the thigh high thing with the like a belt. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, work out in that. It's not even comfortable. Now I'm like in a t-shirt that's like 2 sizes too big, like loose shorts. Like, you look like where are you going? Nowhere. I'm just going right over to the room to work out, but you're comfy. Yeah, I couldn't even imagine putting that on now. But hey, try it. Rock it. I recommend.
We're learning that nylon is not great, so I don't think we're going to be trying that one. No. One of my other questions was, obviously, we are in like the age of information. We've got podcasts, we've got websites, we've got social media gurus, and people that actually know what they're talking about. So what, in your experience, or maybe things that you've seen just as you're going through this, what have you found is like noise versus like what should we actually pay attention to when it comes to preparing or just getting ready for perimenopause and menopause?
Yes, because a lot of the experts, so menopause went from not talking about it to then having like a flooded market with all these, the celebrities were coming out with, try this. And I did, don't get me wrong. I was like, oh my gosh, she looks amazing. I will try all of her supplements, until I was like, I have supplemented myself out. Like, I was like, and they're all these white pills. So one time I was like sitting there, I was like, I have 12 different white pills right next to me. What are they? What are they even doing? But you were like, oh, well, they're the expert. And then you realize, no, like, they're also just like, I feel like it was like, there's no information, then there's so much information, and then it's sort of like taking advantage of, and because you just trust in that, oh, that's So you really have to do your work, because I think it was Jenny Garth that came out that she was advertising. She has underwear that will help with hot flashes. Now, yes, you're going to think about that. When I saw that, I was like infuriated. I wanted to like write a letter to her like, girl, you're a woman too. Like, it is not about underwear. That is. So so you have to find the experts. So I'm on Instagram, and I have like Dr. Vonda Wright, who she's an orthopedic doc, and she is all like bone health and muscles and everything like that. Dr. Mary Claire, like I said, she was the first one that like came out to really get it out there. And, a lot of people would, comment and make fun, like thinking that she was the one, taking advantage of. But for me, she was giving the best information, because you could read her book, but you could fact check her. And it was all right. There's Dr. Stacy Sims, who is, she's a urologist surgeon, that she stopped doing surgery, and she focuses on like the pelvic floor. That's another thing. Girls, that's the other thing. I'm so glad. Brain fog. Woo. Pelvic floor. Please. It is not just Kegels. It's not. They will tell you to do Kegels. Like literally, I couldn't do enough like after childbirth. They're like, got to do the Kegels. It's like, oh my God. Okay. Got to do the Kegels. Got to try to breastfeed. Got to try to do this. I was like, oh, and no, actually, it's only like half of the pelvic floor.
I will tell you, they were still recommending to do Kegels in 2024. And I knew better. I said, okay.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what you do. Again, smile and wave. Smile and wave. Be like, okay, that's what you have to, you checked that box. Like, that's the thing. The information, like, they feel as if, like, I didn't know all of this stuff about menopause before, but I've done the studies. So when they say, well, we didn't learn it, neither did I. I went to nursing school back in, get ready for this, girls, 1988. 1988. Before Google, before phones, okay? Before streaming, before any of that, And we didn't learn that, but you educate yourself. And you find the studies, and you find the sources that you can recommend to other people. So that that is something that they were taught in the 88, and they have done nothing different. My kids were born in 90 and 92. So that same information, do you know what happened? So much has happened in all of those years. It's 2024, and you're still given the same stupid information that is not going to help you at all when it's in menopause. Yeah. So pelvic floor exercises. So I do them. Those are another thing. And they're weird because it doesn't feel like you're really doing an exercise for the pelvic floor, but I was like, hey, works for me. So that's another thing I would start. Know the difference in your 20s, 30s of what pelvic floor is. So that way, yeah, she is a little, she's necessary. But, so yeah, I mean, just find the people that are like, you can fact check them, that are like vetted. And because on our website for Menopause, like, we go into HR companies, into the HR department to give learning modules. So that way everybody is learning about it, because we're like, with coaching, yeah, we're helping like one woman at a time. And, and I'm like, how can we help them? Well, where are we? We're at home or at work, right? So we put that in there. So in all of doing those studies and getting that information, I even found like more information. So you really have to be your own CEO. Don't listen, nothing, and you can attest to this, like, there's no like get rich quick, right? Well, maybe if you win the lottery, but there's no like quick thing like, oh, you want to lose 10 pounds in a day. Yeah. If you hear that, there's the person out there that'll be like, oh yeah, no, right? It's not true. So if you hear something and it's like, that can't be right, it probably isn't, but it's just what they think that women want to hear. Women want to hear, how do I get thin quick, right? How do I not look old? How does, my hair not be thin and color? Yeah, And they think that the little Band-Aids are going to help. The Band-Aids will not when you're in menopause. I mean, you'll have them, if we do the car analogy, my car in menopause, it would be, you wouldn't see the paint color because it would be covered with all the Band-Aids. Because there would be so many that I was like, oh my gosh, I want to look better. Let's put that Band-Aid on here. No, it doesn't. So you have to take everything and get down to the root and find the experts. Like the 3 women that I talked to, those are the ones that they would be like, if I could see them in person, it would be like going to a rock concert again. Like I was like, yeah, there they are. Because I love the information that they give, and they empower women. So you need to find the people that will empower you, not tell you that you're fine. You just need to lose weight and put a Band-Aid on it. That's my advice. That makes sense.
I love that. So before we hopped on, Elle was telling me that you've got exciting stuff with your podcast, how you just went to Reno and everything. So is there anything else exciting kind of on your radar for the rest of the year? Anything you're looking forward to that you want to share with us? Or are there secrets that you don't want to share with us?
Oh, yeah. No, I guess the one thing I'm excited about, and I can't even believe, in June 24th, it'll be 1 year of doing our podcast. Like, I can't even believe, I'm like, that just seems crazy. And when I started, I kept on asking my husband, oh my gosh, what if I don't find anything to talk about? Right? Like, how much menopause can I talk about? Here it is coming up, and we have enough people that it'll be a fun little celebration. But yeah, I can't believe that. So like that's one thing, and then we're just continuing to build it. They will come type of mentality. Yes. We're trying to get it out into more companies. The West Coast is a little bit more open as opposed to the East Coast. And I find that shocking. Yeah, so we just keep on trying. But there's so many different mandates now also coming out. Like, that's the thing. Like, so the information is coming out, and then now the policies are coming out, like, per states. Like, they're trying to have some type of reasonable accommodations for women in the workplace, And it's the same equivalent of breastfeeding. So when I used to be in charge, if somebody came up to me and had a breastfeed, I could not say you can't go. I would go in and cover her, or somebody would, but that was the thing. So the same type of accommodations for women, like if you are like struggling and literally sweat is pouring off of your face and you're like, can I just go get a drink of water? I could be like, yes, I'll get somebody in there as soon as I can. But now, hopefully, if the policies change, then that it won't be so weird of a request. You'll be like, oh yeah, just go. We'll get somebody in there. So it's that type of things are coming across the board in different states, but it's slow.
Yeah,
it's slow.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, we make up half of the population, and
they forget about us.
They do.
Yep.
They do. They do.
So we like to end every episode with guests with the same question. So if the woman listening to this episode feels overwhelmed or behind on their wellness journey, what do you want her to hear right now?
One day at a time, and just start with something. Like if you drink sodas, and you to say don't drink soda, stop drinking soda, that may not be attainable. So if you have like 4 a day, tomorrow have 3. It's moderation. It's a process. Don't look down on yourself and think, because people that change everything all at one time do not continue that far. So just one at a time. Focus on the sugars. Focus on changing that, and then after you get that done, then you're like, okay, now I'm also going to include protein. And don't be overwhelmed. We're all out there, and find your peeps, find your girls that you can talk to, because I think we should worry more about fixing each other's crown as opposed to just slapping it off of people. So That's what I would say.
Yep. Speaking
Love
of
that.
finding your people, what is your podcast and where can people find you on social media?
Oh, thank you. It's Take a Pause with Menopause. And we're on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcast. And my Instagram is also Take a Pause with Menopause. It used to be Take a Pause with Mare, but then we switched it over for branding purposes. So that's where we are.
Nice.
Love that. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I really enjoyed our conversation.
Me too. Thank you, girls.
Yes, thank you.
This conversation was such a powerful reminder that your future health isn't something that you figure out later. It's something that you're building now. And it's not in a way that it's overwhelming or restrictive, but in a way that's supportive, consistent, and realistic for your life. Menopause isn't something to fear, it's something you can prepare for, and the more we normalize these conversations earlier, the more empowered women get to feel in their bodies long term. We're grateful to have had this conversation and bring more awareness to a phase of life that every woman will experience, but not every woman feels equipped for. If this episode helped you, please share it with a friend, especially someone who thinks this conversation doesn't apply to her yet. Make sure you're subscribed, leave us a review if you love this episode, and we'll see you next time on the Sis Let's Heal podcast.